there was a tremendous amount of information, and especially having to do with the colon and how important it is to keep that clean. That Dr. Jetson, basically his whole foundation of success in treating people was to cleanse the intestinal tract, and especially the colon. And I knew about this. I was very familiar about it. And I knew about the mucoid plaque that came out. It was not classified with that terminology until after I did a lot of research, and then I coined the term. But what happened is I met White Medicine Crow. He was there studying also. And make a really interesting story really short, we ended up going up in the mountains, living off the land, eating nothing but wild fresh herbs for a period of 90 days. And that's all we ate were these herbs. We started in the Arizona desert, particularly in the Dragoon Mountains, where Cochise had his warriors in the stronghold and such. And we lived there for about 10 days, and really got tired of eating raw cactus. And so we took off and we went to the Sierras, and in the Sierras we came across a particular meadow, and we started just eating. What we do is take an empty bowl, walk out into the meadow, and pick these herbs, and fill up our bowl and come back to camp, put a little bit of olive oil and apple cider vinegar on it, and that was our food. We ate 2 bowls a day, and for 90 days, that's all we ate were these herbs. And after 2 days, maybe 3, I was sitting in camp, and Crow was out and about, and I heard him yell. He was saying, "Rich, Rich, come quick." And I thought, oh my gosh, he could get hurt. So I ran up there as fast as I could, and my thought was, maybe he got bit by a rattlesnake. And I was running up to him, and he's standing in this clearing, and he's pointing to the ground, and here was this about a 6-foot piece of something that was of organic material, and I thought at first it was a snake, and I thought, oh my gosh, did he get bitten? Why did he yell at me like that? I mean, it was like an emergency situation. And then just as I got close, he said, "Is that mucoid plaque you've been telling me about?" And I looked, and I just was blown away, because yes, I said, that is mucoid plaque without question. However, that did not come from the colon. That came from the small intestine. And that, I never heard of it coming out of the small intestine.
Was it something in the herbs that perhaps
Yes.
inspired it?
Yes, it was something in that combination of herbs. And at first I didn't know what it was. And what I wanted to find out was, is it the combination? Is it the freshness? I mean, all American herbalists know about the herbs that we were eating, but nobody knew that it would pull out mucoid plaque, and especially the way it was pulling it out. I mean, from then on, and before the end of the day, it started coming out of me. And then every time we went to the bathroom, this big pieces would come out of it.
So you must have felt extremely high and cleansed.
Oh my gosh, we reached a level of strength and awareness and such that was absolutely phenomenal. It was like, what is this? And so I kept very careful track of everything we were eating, trying to figure out what it was. And then we moved 10 days later, we went someplace else, and then another place, and wherever it was working, I noted the herbs. And
was cascara growing at that elevation?
No, that was something I added later, only to help people get their peristalsis going, so that they kept on moving their intestines, so that things would come out. Because what happens is when people eat these herbs and swallow these herbs, it starts a cleansing reaction that goes all the way from the outside to the inside, to the very core, and right down to the cellular level. It's cleansing every part of our body, but particularly the intestines. And so it's common for people to take these herbs, and after the herbs have conditioned the intestines in a certain way, and the time factor is a little different with everybody, but generally speaking, it happens within a week, and all of a sudden it starts coming out. And but it's not just the intestines. it's cleansing every single part of the body. And so when I finally ended our little herbal expedition after 90 days, we were living in Mount Shasta, and I was determined to create first a formula that mimicked what we were eating out there off the land. And I was curious, is it, this isn't going to work if it's because of the rawness, because it's fresh. And that's kind of what I thought it was. And, but to my delight, it started coming out of us again. So I knew I had the right combination. It was the combination, because none of these herbs do it by itself. And so it was just a gift from heaven to be given this. And so put this, bought the herbs, all dried herbs from a wholesaler, and mix it up in a big bowl. And I said, Crow, let's you and I go on for 6 days. We eat absolutely nothing but these herbs. That's it. There's no psyllium, no bentonite. And about 3 days later, maybe 4, it started coming out. And I said, let's measure it. And I gave him a chopstick, and I had a chopstick, and so we could fiddle with this, and and try to really get an idea of how long it was, and then so kept a little note.
And the reason, we're kind of giggling, but the reason I understand why is because as Dr. Bernard Jensen, the father of iridology
Right.
and colonic studies, knows that the colon and the small intestines, that every aspect of them has a different shape, a different size. So by measuring that, you can tell which part of the small intestine or which part of the colon is actually being cleansed.
It's the appearance, it's the shape, the striations, how it's made and such. Every part of the intestine is different. So the upper intestine, for example, the duodenum, actually could see mucoid plaque coming out from the duodenum, and you could see where it covered up the bile duct and the pancreatic duct. You could actually see it right there in the mucoid plaque.
Now you had mentioned that once, on one instance, you had thought that your entire colon was coming out. Could you tell us about that? Because you're so...
yes, but let me just finish what I was saying. When we did this 6-day program, just Crow and I, now let me back up. Go back a couple of years. I had done colon cleanses, and I'll talk about that in a minute because you just asked the question. And anyway, the most I ever got out in a 7-day period was 14 feet. And I thought that was phenomenal. But when Crow and I did this program, he got 28 feet out, and I have to, I'm going to tell you the truth what happened.